but they can't really. It's mostly guesswork.
That's another thing I like about Hinduism. There's actually like academic branches for like astrology, mathematics, science, and so forth. I love that about it. I absolutely love it. It's perfect for me and my channel. Blend spirituality and science, baby. That's what we're here for. I love it.
Guesswork and sort of reconstruction of what people have not done for centuries or millennia even.
First off, philosophy is a confession. Philosophy is a confession. Go love somebody that you don't like. Hey, what's up, knowledge seekers? Thanks for stopping by. WTJ Knowledge Drops back with another reaction video. More on that in a second. If you're new, welcome. If you're not, welcome back. If you are a returning knowledge nomad, as usual, we don't have the time for me to express my gratitude for your support. Thank you very, very, very much. If you are, and I hope you're love somebody that you don't like so you can love yourself properly. If you're new, welcome. My name is Wesley Travis Johnson, and this is my channel WTJ Knowledge Drops, where I blend spirituality with science and mix Eastern and Western philosophy to bridge the gap between the two of us and to spread the word of love. If that sounds like something that you'd be into, please consider subscribing. If you do subscribe, remember to hit the bell with all notifications so you can stay in the loop and never miss a drop. Like I said, this is the 5th installment of the Katha Upanishad reaction series. We have done mantras 1 through 11. This one is 12 through 15. If you are new and you just clicked on this one, you are about 5 chapters ahead of where you need to be. I will put at the end of this video, I will put the link to the others. So if you want to hit these mantras first and then go back and work backwards like we're in Star Wars or something, you can definitely do that. Alright, I'm going to shut up and stop talking. We'll get into it. As usual, once the video starts, if you back out before the end, your device will explode. So please stay to the end so you can save your device. Also, I have some information on my next live Q&A. If you're interested in that, please stay to the end and you can get that information. Alright, let's get into it, guys.
Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahano Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karavavahe Tejasvinavadhitamastu ma vidvishavahe. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Om, may the Lord protect us both, teacher and the taught together. May the Lord protect us by giving us the results of knowledge. May we attain vigor together. Let what we study be illuminating. May we not cavil at each other. Om, peace, peace, peace. So, we were studying the Katha Upanishad and the story of Yama and Nachiketa. the little boy, Nachiketa, has gone to the house of Yama. And there he waits for 3 days, 3 nights, because the Lord of Death is not at home. And when the Yama comes back, he feels himself indebted to this little boy because he hasn't been able to take care of his guest.
If this is your first video and you're not familiar with the Hindu religion, they are very, very adamant about taking care of their guests. If you fail to take care of your guests properly, your karma meter depletes pretty fast, apparently, what I've learned. So the little kid went to go visit the Lord of Death, or the God of Death, and because of here, I'll let Swami tell him, but that's why he felt bad, because he wasn't there. He left the kid waiting for 3 days, and so he granted him 3 wishes.
And he offers him 3 boons to make up for making him wait for 3 days and nights, although inadvertently. Now, the 3 boons, this is a famous story. So the 3 boons Nachiketa asks for, is very interesting to see what he asks for. I think I'm at no risk of spoiling the story because it's so old, I think everybody knows it. So the 3 boons, the first boon was Nachiketa asked for his father's peace of mind, that I will go back to the world of the living when permitted by you. My father will recognize me. My father will love me again. And let my father's mind be at peace. Let his anger subside. So all of that. If you take a broad view of it, what he's asking for is...
the first one is his worldly pleasures, and it's very unselfish, or selfless, unselfish. He's asking for his dad's favor instead of his self, which he benefits from his dad's favor. But I think it's it was very selfless for him to have his first wish be for his father instead of himself. Let's go on with the second
one. This world, for his affairs to be set straight in this world, that things go well in this life. That's one boon. The second boon he will ask for now. Second boon is the boon of heaven after death, after this world. What's the best thing one can conceive of? What is the best thing one can aspire towards is heaven. So he's going to ask for Swarga, heaven. And then finally, the highest of all, the third boon, which is of course the point of the entire book, the point of the entire story, point of the entire text also. Third boon is about Vedanta, about moksha, spiritual liberation, the ultimate destiny of human.
I am absolutely in love with Vedanta, and I am going to study it even more in depth off camera so I can become a spiritual leader in the field as much as I possibly can, without having a physical teacher here to teach me. I put my trust in Swami G via YouTube. I am going to seek out a spiritual teacher here in the United States, hopefully in the Austin, Texas area. If you're watching this and you are a spiritual leader here in the Austin area, let me know in the comments, and I would love to study under you. Okay, shut up, Wes.
And life itself, enlightenment, freedom, whatever you call it. So Vedanta, third part is Vedanta. The second part, which we're going to go into, is the ritualistic portion of the Vedas, which is known as Karma Kanda. Karma Kanda literally means the ritualistic portion. Karma means rituals here. Karma means action, but in this case, it means ritualistic action prescribed in the Vedas. And the first part was the secular part of his life, that things go well in life. So now we are going to go into the second boon. Is going to ask for, how do I go to heaven? So already he asked for his father's peace of mind and going back and being loved by his father again. And Yama promised him that. He says, exactly as you want it, so it will be. Now, he's going to ask for heaven in the next few verses, next few mantras. So in the 12th mantra, which we will read now, we have already done the 11th mantra, I think. The 12th mantra, which we'll read now, he will set his case for heaven. Why does he want this? Suddenly, what happened? Why does he want to go to heaven? This is after death. And then also, how? And what can Yama do for him? So that will be in the 13th mantra. Before I jump into it, just a little bit of an introduction. What is going on here? One must remember that this is in the context of the Vedas. So this vast corpus of ancient literature, the bulk of which...
And when he says vast, it is in fact vast. If you're new to the Hindu religion, I'd like to give the analogy of you are in a tube, like where you go tubing on a river. You're on a tube in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, and all you see is the vastness of Hinduism. There is a path for every person that walks the earth.
Was concerned with various rituals prescribed for getting what you want here now in this life, and also ensuring for yourself the best possible life after death. You might say that, how do you know any of that will work after death? In this life, at least, we can know if it works or not. I perform this ritual and I want rainfall, or I want to conquer my enemies. I want lots of, like a bountiful harvest, or my children should be healthy and good. I can see whether it worked or not in my life itself. In the months and years ahead, I'll see whether.
I think the next part is going to have to do with absolute faith. To have faith, what they're telling you happens after death, in fact happens, because you can't see the physical results. So it's the 150% faith.
The effect is there, what was promised. So this is called Drishta Phala. In Sanskrit, Drishta Phala. Drishta means seen, experienced. Seen or experienced where? In this life. We will see whether it works or not. Phala is result. Drishta Phala, seen result. But Adrishta Phala is also there, unseen result. So the unseen result might be after death, I shall go to heaven. And the heavens also were categorized into multiple layers. Many, many kinds of heavens were there, many kinds of worlds. So one cosmology, the most popular one, which in Vedanta, sir, if you remember, 14 worlds, Chaturdasha Bhuvanani, 14 worlds were talked about. 7 of them are good, including this one, the one where we are, better and better. This is the worst of the good ones. It's sort of a very...
Not only is there multiple heavens, there are multiple planes of existence, multiple universes. With quantum computing, we have kind of proved that there are alternate universes happening parallel to ours, and same thing's going on over there, but maybe just in a different order, or something different is about it. But there's definitely other dimensions. Unless that was clickbait. I could be wrong. Be skeptical of everything you hear from me and everything you hear from online. Please. Please, please, please be skeptical. If it breaks physics, it's not true. Be analytical with your information intake, please.
Mixed kind of experience. Samsara, where we are, the Matyaloka, the world of the mortals. But there are other worlds above us, 6 other worlds, which are finer and finer and better above means not physically above us, but they are on a different plane of existence. Maybe some other universe or something like that, or virtual worlds, who knows? It will be uploaded into the cloud.
It's going to be the ones I just talked about. Those other planes of existence are probably the heavens, I think we're in the hell one right now. That's how it feels being a human, in my opinion. We all did something wrong in our past lives because I feel like we are at the bottom in hell, trying to transcend our way out, become as spiritual as possible. Shut up, Wes.
After death. But they're all much better than us. And how much better, Nachiketa himself will tell us that I want to go to those worlds. And those worlds, and among them, the best one is called Brahmaloka. The highest one is called Brahmaloka. Another name is Satyaloka. Basically, the heaven which theistic religions talk about, the Vaikuntha of the Vaishnavas, the Kailasha of the Shaivas, the Christian heaven, the Muslim, Islamic heaven, even some Buddhist heavens are also mentioned. They are what is indicated in the Karma Kanda of the Vedas as the Brahmaloka, Satyaloka, the highest one, where you live in the presence of God. And it is a spiritual place. But it's also a place of perfection. All kinds of unhappinesses go away there. So, and below means worse than our present existence, there are hells. So there are 7 kinds of hells which are awful, and more awful as progressively. So now, how do you go to these heavens? By good karma. Depending upon your level of good karma, and the specific good karma was the Vedic rituals prescribed in the Karma Kanda of the Vedas. Depending upon the amount of good karma you've got in your credit, it depends on what kind of heaven you're going to go to, how long you're going to stay there, and so on. The highest heaven is Satyaloka or Brahmaloka, which he is going to ask for. And there, the idea is that if you reach there, it's a very...
According to the Upanishads, apparently you can die in heaven. I forgot how it works, but I do remember us going over that. And you can also reach the highest level of heaven and have your karma meter run out and have to come back around again.
Very elevated state of being. Once one reaches there, one actually does not come back to this world. One does not lose that until the end of creation, until the end of this particular universe, until the end of this particular Srishti. So when this universe will die, at that time, what will happen is all those in Brahmaloka or Satyaloka, those who are not enlightened yet, even after this millions.
For the people in the West, you can kind of compare this, what he's talking about, to the rapture. It's all the people that have been super faithful and have reached the highest level of spirituality is what he's talking about right now. The ones that get to stay up there and just stay up there until the end of existence. And then a new cycle starts. Everything is a cycle if you allow it, by the way.
And millions of years in this amazing place, they will merge back into Prakriti. They're all the samskaras. The individuality will merge back into Prakriti or Maya. And for an indefinite period, they will remain. There's actually no time there because time also will disappear. Space, time, universe, everything will disappear. Only what will be left? Saguna Brahman, Vishnu, Narayana in Kshetrasagara, the whole symbology of the Sheshanaga, 1,000-hooded serpent, and God taking a nap. So that will be the state. And that's a symbology, but just it means it's like a state of suspended animation. No universe is there. Next universe, when it is created, all those beings will again be projected back, along with all other beings who are there, who have been whirling around in samsara in many kinds of worlds. These are the best kinds of beings who were in Brahmaloka, but not attain illumination. But some, during their stay in Brahmaloka itself, they attain illumination. Illumination means they realize, Aham Brahmasmi, they get moksha. And so they will not be reborn anymore. For them, the cycle is over. Others will have to come back. And below
they're the lucky ones. You gotta escape this place, man. I do not want to come back around. And if I do, I want to be a tree in the Amazon rainforest, a mother tree at that, deep in the rainforest, where, they're not going to start chopping down the trees.
This Brahmaloka are many other worlds, all heavenly worlds, but they are not of the excellence of the Brahmaloka. All of these are to be attained by Vedic rituals. Couple of points here. First of all, this is not a very familiar territory for most of us. The reason being, even if those of us who are practicing Hindus, the kind of rituals and pujas which we're used to are of later origin. The world of Vedic ritualism, which was the religion that Nachiketa grew up seeing, which he saw his father doing and all people around doing, that world has faded into obsolescence. The Karma Kanda of the Vedas, it's there, but now it is mostly of academic interest. It is chanted. The mantras there are chanted by Vedic scholars. Some of the rituals are still performed, but the big ones, which we'll talk about now, those have faded into obscurity. I know there are people who claim we can do those rituals, but they can't really. It's mostly guesswork.
That's another thing I like about Hinduism. There's actually like academic branches for like astrology, mathematics, science, and so forth. I love that about it. I absolutely love it. It's perfect for me and my channel. Blend spirituality and science, baby. That's what we're here for. I love it.
Guesswork and sort of reconstruction of what people have not done for centuries or millennia even. We have replaced them with the modern worship of, Shiva, Devi, Vishnu, Narayana, Krishna, Rama, the avatar worship, and so on. That's one point. So it's unfamiliar territory.
Which deity do you worship? Let me know in the comments. I need the engagement. Also, rep your city and your country, wherever you're from. State in wherever you're at. Rep where you're at. City, state, country, all that. Let me know. Also, which deity do you worship?
Even one of the greatest scholars of the Karma Kanda whom I had met, he taught us Vedanta, but he was actually trained in Purva Mimamsa. He said to us that I study all this, but I really wouldn't know how to perform these rituals. Nobody does really. Some of these rituals, these are the more advanced ones. Nobody has performed them for centuries or even millennia. So it's unfamiliar territory. It's more academic interest now. But again, I must emphasize, not totally of academic interest, because all these portions of the Vedas are regularly chanted by thousands and thousands of Vedic like practitioners, Brahmins, even today. So that it's done in chanting, but the rituals themselves have become obscure. The second thing I wanted to say was that then how do I make it familiar? What is going on here? What is the point of this? And Vedanta will come later, but right now, all this which will be discussed now, what is going on here? It is nothing very odd or strange. It is actually very something we are all familiar with. It is conventional religion. If you look around in temples, churches, mosques, New Age spirituality, most of it, all.
I'm really not a fan of religion or New Age spirituality, especially because here in the West, we dumbed it down so much that it's crazy. We left out the first layer, the main part of spirituality, that we are all connected and we are all one, and that the collective makes up God. We left that out. That's baseline of all spirituality. Why do you think we left it out? Let me know in the comments. But the reason why is because of control. Imagine the power if every one of us knew that we were God and that we could manifest whatever we wanted. All it takes is 150% faith and being it until you see it. Shut up, Wes.
Of these, the bulk of it The people who go to these places who are following some kind of religion, most of it is for getting a good life here, and for those who believe in heaven, for going to heaven afterwards. So this is it's not for, so someone might ask, then what could it be for? It is not, most of this conventional religion is not for enlightenment, nirvana, moksha, brahmagyana, realization of my nature as the absolute. No, no, no. You are very much in a minority. Those who are gathered here, we see 85 people. So we are all in a very small minority. Majority of religious people, devout people, what do they want when they're religious? They want a good life here, and enlightened life. Enlightened means a nice life.
Yeah, most of them are praying for materialistic things that they can benefit from right now. I think the next level of spirituality up from that is actually trying to better your afterlife. And then apparently the next step after that is Vedanta, which is the highest level, which we're getting to right now. Shut up, Wes.
Wise life, ethical life, fulfilling life here, and maybe something after that, something equally good or better.
Ethical is the key word there, guys. Especially here in the West, if you're a business owner, you got to be ethical. But you can't be greedy, because you can't get to that greedy billionaire status without being corrupt. It's impossible. It just is. But stop being greedy. I forgot my point, but I'll remember it in a second.
I'm reminded of, I mentioned earlier, that book, The Secret, by Rhonda Byrne. So she wrote another book recently, The Ultimate Secret. This neatly shows us the division between Karma Kanda and Jnana Kanda. The secret, the general idea.
Have any of y'all read both of those books, The Secret and The Ultimate Secret? I haven't read either one of them. Honestly, I'm not too big of a reader. I definitely can't do fiction. I can do nonfiction like this, or even what he was just speaking on. But I can't really do fiction books much, or movies at that. I just can't get into it, especially if it's like weird dragon shit or, you know, weird shit. I can't do it. I have to do nonfiction, or I gotta be loving or laughing, or I'm not feeling it. Loving, laughing, or learning.
It's a very new agey idea, but in principle it's the same as Karma Kanda. The Greatest Secret or The Ultimate Secret? Rick, the new one is called The Ultimate Secret, I think. Or Greatest Secret, okay. And in between, but we have to check, because in between there were a number of other books in the secret series. So many types of secrets. But the ultimate one, I think, so the last one is about non-duality, about Advaita. And she has discovered non-duality. She's written about that. But the point of it was that there is a way of fulfilling our desires. That's what Karma Kanda promises you. That's what conventional religion promises you. And that's what the first book in the series, The Secret, promises you. And that's why it was so tremendously attractive. You can see why Karma Kanda is so tremendously attractive, and why Nachiketa would want to know these things. So it is very attractive, but it is worldly or otherworldly. It's not spiritual. All right, one more point before I go into it. The systems of Hindu philosophy, Nyaya, Vaisheshika, Sankhya, Yoga, Purva Mimamsa, and Vedanta. Now, they are all based on the Vedas. These very Vedas we can talk about. Upanishads, and before that the Karma Kanda, they form the textual basis of all of these philosophies. They all accept the Vedas. If they all accept the Vedas, how are they different? They sort of developed in different ways, the different specialities. So, for example, the Nyaya philosophy, they all promise moksha. They all promise ultimately they are about liberation and moksha. But the Nyaya philosophy developed logic. So the rules of debate, logical analysis, all this was highly developed in the Nyaya philosophy, and other systems used it. Vaisheshika philosophy developed a study of the universe, the categories, what is real.
I did a video on the Vedas before I even started this Upanishad reaction series, so I kind of glanced over the collective pretty quickly before I started deep diving into this one. And I'm going to hit the other branches, I'm sure. Let me know where you want me to go next in the comments, please. I need the engagement and the recommendations, honestly. Let me know what you want me to react to, please.
7 categories of reality, they developed that. The Sankhya philosophy developed this idea of pure consciousness as opposed to nature. The Yoga philosophy specialized in developing techniques of meditation and contemplation. The Purva Mimamsa, so Vedanta specializes in, Upanishads, enlightenment, realization, I am Brahman, and freedom through the realization. So Vedanta is par excellence the Vedic philosophy. It is based entirely on the Upanishads and develops that. However, in between, there is this entire philosophy called Purva Mimamsa, which means the earlier analysis. Purva Mimamsa. The earlier analysis means the analysis of the earlier portion of the Vedas, which is the bulk of the Vedas, which is the Karma Kanda, the ritualistic portion. So there is a whole system, very complex, a very rich system of orthodox philosophy, Hindu philosophy, based on these rituals. That is called Purva Mimamsa. So these philosophers, they were experts in, they developed the techniques of textual analysis, hermeneutics. So there is a text, there are certain mantras. Now what do these mean? How are they to be used? In which ritual, which mantras are to be chanted? Which mantras are talking about the result of the ritual? Which mantras are talking about the procedure of the ritual? Which mantras are just meant to be chanted during the ritual? All of these things, how do you extract the meaning from these texts? What we today call hermeneutics. That was developed to great sophistication by these Purva Mimamsakas. We saw a sample of their work when we were studying Vedanta Sara, how to analyze the Mahavakya. All these techniques, we cannot take claim, as in Vedanta, we cannot claim the glory of having developed this, because it's all developed by the Purva Mimamsakas. We are using it under license from Purva Mimamsakas. All right. Having said this, so what we are entering now is the territory, it's not our territory. It's the territory of the Purva Mimamsakas. Famous Purva Mimamsaka was Kumarila Bhatta, Pravakara. These are all famous Purva Mimamsakas who lived just before, or they were elder contemporaries of Shankaracharya. So they sort of developed Purva Mimamsa to its very high level of development. So when you study Indian philosophy, you're introduced to all the systems. So we are going to study Vedanta. As monks, our main field of study is Vedanta because we are Vedantic. Our philosophy is Vedanta, but we were introduced to all these other philosophies. So Nyaya Vaisheshika, we studied the introductory text with some commentaries. Nyaya Vaisheshika, we studied Tarka Sangraha. And then for Sankhya, we studied Sankhya Karika. For yoga philosophy, we studied the Patanjali Yoga Sutra with the commentary of Vyasa. Then Purva Mimamsa, we were introduced to Purva Mimamsa by a classical text called Artha Sangraha. We studied that. And for Vedanta, we are introduced by Vedanta Sara, which we did before this. All right, that's the background. So we are entering an area which is not entirely our area. Our area means the area of Vedanta. What is the area of Vedanta? Upanishads. You'll say, but this is the Upanishad. True.
I also did a reaction video to the 16 Indian philosophies explained like they're in a game by India in Pickles. If you're interested in that too, I did react to that. I enjoyed it thoroughly. I hope you do as well. Let me know.
But this is the complexity of the whole subject. The Upanishads are part of much broader texts, the Vedas. So the Vedic context is always reflected in the Upanishads. Almost every Upanishad, you will find discussion of Vedic rituals. Not much compared to the vast amount of discussion which has gone on before. But some discussion will be there, like this, what's going to start now. Mandukya is very serious, so it gets down to the I am Brahman business very fast and ignores all of this. But all other Upanishads, you have to be patient. This kind of discussion of rituals will be there. Certain meditations will be discussed, which may not seem directly relevant to Vedanta. All right. Okay, let's go into this. Now, what is going to happen? Nachiketa is going to talk about heaven, why he wants heaven, what's so great about going to heaven, and then how do I go to heaven? How can the Lord of Death, Yama, help him to go to heaven? Mantra number 12. Mantra number 12. Swarge loke na bhayam kinchanasti na tatratvam na jaraya viveti ubheti tva ashanaya pipase shokati go modate swarga.
I'm excited to go through the Mandukya as well. It's just cut straight to the business, apparently. I'm all about business, baby.
Okay. In heaven, so this is Nachiketa speaking. In heaven, there is no fear. You are not there. And nobody is struck with fear because of old age. Having transcended both hunger and thirst and crossed over sorrow, one rejoices in the heavenly world. So it makes a strong case for going to heaven. We are all for it, going to heaven. No, we are not for it. We'll see later why not. This just perpetuates samsara. It's a nice kind of samsara. Swami Vivekananda says, chains, though of gold, are not less strong to bind. The chains of gold are heaven. Par excellence is heaven. So what is so great about heaven? Swarge loke. Swarga is heaven. Any kind of heaven is called Swarga, but here he means probably, we are guessing, the highest heaven, the final heaven. Loka. What is Loka? Loka just means a world, but wherever we can have experiences, where sentient beings have experiences. This is the precise definition of Loka, world. In Sanskrit, Lokyate, Drishyate, Bhujyate. Lokyate means where you see. So pretty similar to the English word look, where you see. But see means what? It means experience, not just see. See, hear, smell, taste, touch. You are there. The things and people and other entities are there. You can interact and you can get lots of experiences, pleasurable and painful. That is called a world. It applies very beautifully to our virtual worlds also. In computer science, you are creating virtual worlds. They are also lokas, literally. We are using the term, in fact, virtual world. So in this Swarga Loka, what happens? Na bhayam kinchanasti. There is no kind of fear, none at all. There is no fear at all. Why not? Well, first of all, the greatest of all fears is death. So Nachiketa is, you just remember, he's a little boy, so he's pretty cheeky. He already annoyed his father. Now he runs the risk of annoying the Lord of Death. He says, na tatratvam, you are not there. So a little boy, so he's not politically correct. He just says whatever comes to his mind. So it's a good place because you are not there. I'm sure that made Yama very happy. You, O death, you are not there. Na jaraya bhiveti. There is no old age also. So we are born in this life, in this world, then we grow, and then we come into youth, and then the body starts decaying, middle age, old age, and then death. And there is a period from middle age to old age to death, which is a period of decay, actually. Now, in heaven, there's no such thing. What happens exactly? You might ask, wait a minute, how do you know all this? Have you been there? I don't know if I've been there, no memory, but the texts speak about it. So it's very much like our virtual worlds. You just appear there.
Yeah, he did annoy his father, and his father cracked a joke that he took very seriously, And that's why in the first bone he asked for his father to love him again and all that, and to recognize him and to forgive him and all that, because he was inquiring a lot as a child does, and he was kind of busting his dad's balls about the gifts he was giving up. He wasn't giving up all of the good stuff. He was giving away all the trash, basically. So he kind of called his dad out on that. And then, so, at one point, he said, well, who would you give me to? And his dad was just joking. He said, I'll give you to death. Just kidding. But the kid took it literally. Don't take it literal. Don't take things literally. It's not you, it's them. Actually, you know what? It's not them, it's you.
Because of your past good karma, if you have earned a place in heaven, you appeared there. There are no sufferings associated with birth. You appeared there, and you exist there for a very long time. Lower heavens, thousands and thousands of years, and the highest heaven until the end of the universe. You are there. But there is actually death. So this is the thing to be careful about. When the Karma Kanda, ritualistic portion of the Vedas, extol heaven as this wonderful place where you are immortal, where you drink the Amrita, the drink of immortality. You are free of death. He says death is not there. All that it means is it's relatively free of death. The commentators make it clear, apekshika, relatively. Not like the rest of us who are trapped in samsara in this world and lower worlds. We die, and then the sentient being which we are, we exist in some kind of limbo, some kind of world for some time, depending on our past karma. Again, we are reborn. Nachiketa pointed it out to his father. Like ordinary, what's the lot of most people, most sentient beings? They're born like corn and they die like corn of the fields, and they're reborn again like corn. In one of the earlier mantras, he warned his father not to be unethical. If you're unethical, you're cast into the lot of this ordinary process of being whirled around. Many births, many deaths, many rounds of suffering on this wheel of samsara. Here, however, in heaven, you, O Lord of Death, you don't make your appearance so often. So as a God in heaven, God with small g. So you'll be a God in heaven with small g. The Sanskrit word is very evocative. Deva. Deva literally comes from the root div, to shine. So
it's purgatory. Shout out Sopranos.
These are luminous beings. This is good for them. No, they are us. The best amongst us, good ethical people, they go and live like this as these luminous beings of great grace and power. I think that's where the Christian concept, Abrahamic concept of angels comes from. Beings of great grace and power and all. So there are such beings, and there are different gradations. They are relatively free of death because they will continue to exist. At one time, they will die, but that's also sudden. So they appear, you stay there, no sign of old age, no disease, no decay, no 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s.
The small g is all the deities that we worship. The big G is the collective, all of us that make up God.
They are there for thousands and thousands of years. And I don't know if they get bored or something, but anyway, apparently there is no boredom either because they are very happy. And then when your good karma runs out, so they again descend back into the storm of samsara, into being whirled around in samsara again. So that's death. That's there, but in the long run, the usual fears are not there. The fear of death is not there. Fear of old age is not there. Bill, who's the oldest among us, he often says, old age is not for sissies. Old age, you have to be a really tough person to bear old age. It's not there. So it's a very attractive proposition, no fear of old age either. And our day-to-day problems. Ashanaya pipasa. Ashana means hunger. Pipasa means thirst. One overcomes, one transcends hunger and thirst. That means there's...
I've said this in one of the past ones, but they probably have us in a child state up there because, you know, you play and have fun and you don't get bored. I mean, I guess you could get bored, but I think being adults up there, yeah, not literally, but you know what I'm saying. I forgot my point, but I'll remember in a second.
No hunger and thirst. Whatever one wants, hunger and thirst is just a placeholder for everything one could want. So no old age, no death, but in the meantime, you're there for thousands of years. What do? Whatever you want, all your desires are fulfilled. And there is, in the world of, in the mortal world, everybody, from the tiniest animals to us human beings, we are toiling away for food and shelter. And in the animals, it is most obvious. All the time, if you see in the wild, most of the time and energy is spent in searching for food and for keeping themselves safe. So that struggle is overcome. Whatever one wants, not just food and drink, but everything comes. Not only that, there is no tiredness, no disease. You may enjoy life there in heaven, and you will not get exhausted by it. So all these wonderful things. You have this extraordinary body there, like a Superman or something, which will not get exhausted. So it all sounds very attractive. So one transcends all of that. Not only that, whatever the commented
up there playing cards and dominoes like we're in jail, in chess, Scrabble. What game do you like? Let me know in the comments. I need the engagement. When it comes to games, like physical games, I think my favorite would be like Yahtzee or something like that, or poker, Texas Hold'em specifically. What games do you enjoy? Let me know in the comments. I need the engagement, and maybe I can play with you guys. Let me know.
It says, whatever one may desire, you get it instantaneously without effort. Something like Amazon Prime. So you have a series of things which are desirable, and you select one. It is delivered to you. It, like magic, it appears. It is given. It is delivered to you. 1 day delivery. They're also not even 1 day, 1 minute, maybe a few seconds, whatever you want. Pretty much like that. Notice how all this may sound like a fable to us modern people, but it's basically we are constructing and reconstructing our world in that image. This is exactly what we are trying to achieve in this world. What we people want. We don't want to suffer from old age.
Yeah, I mean, animals do spend most of their time hunting for food, and it's because the hunting success rate is not great at all, unless you're a dragonfly, and then it's 100% success rate. They're the only ones, dragonfly has 100% hunting success. Everybody else is probably under 30% success rate as a collect, probably like as an average, the mean.
We don't want to suffer from death. We want to prolong our lives as long as we can live. We don't want to suffer from suffering in, from the minutest of little problems. I want something, I must have it. Not only I must have it now. So look at how we have designed our economic systems, commercial systems, everything, production, to keep on satisfying our desires more and more variety immediately and so on. You say, but we need money here. That's true. In heaven, you need good karma. So you have a credit. Your credit card.
I just saw that they're going to start doing like a 30-minute delivery service, Amazon. So it's getting faster and faster, and pretty soon it's going to be a snap of the finger type shit.
Card is there plugged into the heavenly bank, and whenever you keep on satisfying those desires, you are using up that credit, good karma. So you transcend all wants, all needs. It's a fine place to be. Shokatigo, you transcend sorrow. So not only all happinesses are there, all the causes of sorrow also are not there. So sorrow could be a physical sorrow from inclement weather. Weather is always perfect. It's all climate controlled all the time. Then from physical weaknesses, perfect health, extraordinary health. Even the finest Olympic athlete will not have such health. You have that all the time. Then Adhibhautika, Adhidaivika, Adhyatmika. 3 kinds of sorrows are not there. So sorrows caused by other living beings. Everybody is perfect and nice to you. There was a TV serial in television. They called it Good Place. I read about it. A philosophy. They actually contacted philosophers to give inputs to make the TV serial like that. So the idea was, what could heaven be like? So people are nice to you. I mean, other heavenly beings, because they are heavenly beings, they're obviously nice to you. And so everything is perfect. There is no harassment from anybody else. All your heavenly neighbors are absolutely wonderful neighbors. Everything is perfect. So you transcend all the causes of sorrow. No.
If your sorrow is of the weather, you have a pretty good life. Yeah. First world problems.
Financial problems also. All causes of sorrow are transcended. Then, modate, you enjoy. Won't you get bored? No. Life is one long party. Modate. Modate is enjoy life there. Where is this wonderful place? Swargaloke, in the heavenly worlds. And there are grades of it. So everything is wonderful. What's the American term? Hunky-dory. Everything is hunky-dory there in heaven. But not entirely so. There are some problems. What problem? There is apparently a great problem of jealousy. So the gods are jealous of each other. What we find, their gods are jealous of each other. And those who dwell in the lower heavens are jealous of those who are in the higher heavens. I remember we had this novice who was very simple many years ago when we joined the order. So this novice, young brahmachari, he asked our senior Swamiji once about these heavens. When we were studying these texts, he said, so the highest heavens, if you are there, can you visit the lower heavens? The senior Swami said, well, whatever for? Why would you want to do that? He said, no, just to show off, just see, I'm so much better than you. I'm better off than you. And to scold them. In Bengali, he said, hey, just to scold them a little bit, just show off them, show your power. It is very simple.
Yeah, I've said this in a past video as well. Jealousy is a strong emotion. So strong, apparently, that it transcends with us to heaven. It's still in there. So you get jealous of other people's transcendingness. Which is also why the people closest to you don't support you. It's because low-key, the higher you get, it makes them look bad. The higher you get, the more it makes them look bad because they're stuck down there. That's why the people closest to you don't support you like strangers do.
Put that way. Yes. So that's one problem. They're jealous of each other. They are, even though they're in other worlds, they're still very worldly people with these beings. And if you look at the mythology, they're always being attacked by demons. So that's another problem. You have a demon infestation problem. You have to call pest control to take care of the demons. That's one problem there. What else? And it all comes to an end. It all comes to an end. All of it is entirely limited. And most importantly, none of it is satisfying. Even after all of this, every possible desire satisfied, you still feel dissatisfied because you are infinity. None of
go down there and strut. That's funny. Show off. Like, hey man, I'm in like 5 levels of heaven higher than you, bro. You need to get your spirituality game up. You're slacking on your macking, slipping on your pimping.
These limited enjoyments are ever going to fulfill you. So that is heaven. Great, I want to go there. So Nachiketa, he asks for going to heaven. How will you go there? What is that particular Vedic ritual by performing which I go to heaven? You are the master of these rituals. You have all this knowledge. Please teach it to me. One little, I would say, footnote here. Nachiketa, we have already seen, is a pretty selfless kind of kid. All he wanted for his worldly affairs was his father to be all right. Similarly, it's quite possible that he actually does not want heaven. But people desire this. He knows most of conventional religion is this. And he's seen it in his father and other people around him. So he wants to bring this knowledge from the secret knowledge of this highest Vedic rituals from the Lord of Death back to the earth so that he can give it to other people. So someone might say that, aren't you reading too much into this? How do you know? Because it clearly seems to say that he wants it for himself. He wants that as a boon. Because the next thing he asks for, the knowledge of Vedanta, which will lead into enlightenment, that requires dispassion. That requires what is called vairagya, dispassion, renunciation. Renunciation of what? Not only this world, but also heavens. In Vedanta Sara we read, Ihamutra phalabhoga viraga. A dispassion towards whatever nice things you can obtain here in this world. And also there, it says, Amutra means there. There means in heaven. All of that, you should have a clear dispassion for that. So Nachiketa has that. Otherwise, he wouldn't ask the third question. He would be perfectly happy with this. It's the highest thing one can attain, worldly thing or otherworldly thing. So
I kind of did this when my old self died. I came back and God told me that if I did make it, that I would need to spread as much love as possible, and it's really the only thing I'm going to be doing from here on out. I did survive. I have since retired from a social life and started learning for fun and becoming as spiritual as possible. So, yeah, I'm kind of like Kid in that sense.
Next, when he asks the question about Vedanta, you will see Yama tests him. So you will see Yama says that, what about heaven? I gave you the secret. I unlocked, he will give him the secret now. I unlocked the gates of heaven for you. Don't you want to go there? Go there and have fun in heaven. Don't ask for enlightenment and Vedantic knowledge. And Nachiketa clearly rejects all of this which he just said now, all the fun facts about heaven. One by one, Nachiketa sharply, he shows the faults of all of that and he rejects it in no uncertain terms. So clearly he does not want it for himself. Yet he does ask for it, so it must be for the welfare of others, people who want it for them. And another point is that Yama actually will say a little later that people will know this ritual by your name, which means it's to be given to the people of the world, the mortals who want it. And they will know it as the ritual of Nachiketa. Now, he asks for that knowledge. Sattvamagnim swargyamadhyeshi mrityo prabruhitvam shraddadhanaya mahyam swargaloka amritatvam bhajanta etadvitiyena vrinevarena. Very beautiful poetry also. O death, such as you are, you know that fire which leads to heaven. Of that you tell me, who am full of faith. The dwellers of heaven get immortality. This I ask for through the second boon. So he asks for the second boon. What is that? tell me about that Agni, that fire. So fire here has different meanings. Here fire means a particular ritual. And remember, whenever they say fire in the Vedic context, it just doesn't mean any kind of fire. It means the fire which has been lit or kindled ritualistically.
I agree with his analysis. I feel like it's spot on. Shout out Swami Sarvapriyananda. I love you, man. Don't copyright me, bro. Now the Vedanta Society of New York has been pretty good. It's not like Sadhguru. Everything I do with Sadhguru gets copyright stricken, and I have to, what's the word I'm looking for? I have to dispute it, and it takes 30 days. If they don't respond in 30 days, then they let it go. But yeah, so every time I do a Sadhguru reaction video, I have to deal with copyright issues. I haven't done it once. I haven't had it once with Vedanta Society of New York. So shout out you guys and Swami G. Thank you guys for the free love, the free knowledge. You are a beautiful, beautiful thing. Shut up, Wes.
The Homakunda, in the place where it is the sacrificial altar. There, that fire. And with the accompaniment of chanting with the priest present, so that fire is mentioned, is meant when they say fire. Another meaning of fire is the whole ritual, the whole science of how do you go to heaven. That's what he's asking for. Tell me that whole, the technique, the ritual, how does, by performing which one gets enough karmic currency to go to heaven after death. Show me that. Adhyeshi. Adhyeshi here literally means teach me. Literally it means remember, but it means you remember the knowledge which you have. That means you express it to me. Mrityu, O Lord of death. Prabruhi, expound unto me. Prabruhi means...
Speaking about poetry, let me see if I can spit a little poetry for you guys. She was the perfect shade of ethnicity. An angel from heaven who was sent to me. It feels like I've been waiting a century for our souls to link up and make history. I'm trying to catch your eye so I can study you like a pupil. Okay, I'm going to stop there.
Get immortal, expounded, teach unto me or speak thus unto me. I who am Shraddhadanayamaham, I have faith in Vedic ritualism. So I'm a person who believes in the Vedic religion. I have faith. You tell me. So that faith is absolutely important. Otherwise, in today's world, one might not be motivated to perform these rituals because one doesn't believe. Not that one doesn't have desires, but one just doesn't believe.
As in like a fire burning inside of you, or like a candle you got lit for the ritual purposes? What do you guys think on that? Let me know in the comments. Also, spit some poetry in the comments. Let me know. I need the engagement. Let me show me your word skills. Show me what you got. I love poetry and I used to write music, so I'm all about it.
Believe that these things exist, these heavens and all. I remember one of our masters when we were novices teaching us some other Upanishad around this thing about giving up the
fire within you, passion, which he just brought up before that. You got to have passion in order to get the Vedanta. I think that's what he said. I could be wrong.
Is the desire for these heavens if you want to get enlightenment and moksha, freedom. And we all were nodding along. And he said, not so fast, young monks. We who cannot give up the desire for a cookie, happily we say, oh, I don't want heaven. It's only because we have no faith at all. Modern people, we don't believe in such things. So if you really believed in it, you would understand the attraction of all this for the ancient people. In every religion, they would want these things. These are very elevated. But what we modern people have been trying to do is transform our modern societies into something like heaven. Then Swargaloka Amritatvam Bhajanta. So in heaven, Swargaloka here means not the worlds of heaven, but the dwellers in the worlds of heaven, they enjoy immortality. And this immortality is temporary. Temporary means it's pretty long compared to our lifespan. That's why it seems immortal to us. But ultimately, it's temporary. At the end of the universe, everything must come to an end. Even these heavens and the dwellers in heavens also will come to an end. A new cycle will begin after that. Then, so this is the promise. This is the request. Nachiketa's request. Teach me that ritual. Now, the Lord of Death, 14th mantra, he says, Prate bravimi tadume nibodha swargyamagnim nachiketah prajanan anantalokaptim atho pratishtham viddhitvametam nihitam guhayam. O Nachiketa, being well aware of the fire that is conducive to heaven, I shall tell you of it. That very thing you understand with attention from my words. That fire, which is the means for the attainment of heaven and which is the support of the world, know it to be established in the intellect of the enlightened ones. I will now expound unto you. Death said, yes, granted, your boon is granted. What you wanted is granted. I'm going to teach you the highest form of Vedic rituals, which will take you to the best heaven. Listen to me carefully, he says. Attend to me. Nibodha, learn from me. This is the support of all the worlds. This is the highest heaven. And Nihitam Guhayam means it is well established in the intellects of the enlightened ones. Here, enlightened ones means the rishis who know about these Vedic rituals. So it's Rhonda when she wrote the first book, The Secret. The secret, she knows the secret. But what kind of secret? That's a different secret from the last one. That was the earlier secret which fulfills your worldly desires. Now the other secret, which the greatest secret is, which gives you enlightenment and freedom from the world, from samsara. But here, enlightened means those who are knowers of that earlier secret, the karma kanda. They know of these things, and I'm going to tell you this. Yama says. Now, the narration changes. You see, there are different voices. Sometimes Nachiketa is speaking, sometimes the Lord of Death is speaking, sometimes Nachiketa's father is speaking, sometimes Yama's, the Lord of Death's minions are speaking, and sometimes the Upanishad itself is speaking. So now the Upanishad takes up the narration. What happened next? So this is, they say, a teachable moment. So Yama is going to teach Nachiketa, and the description of the teaching is given. By the way, if you are thinking, aha, let me write down that knowledge Yama is going to tell us, you're going to be disappointed. None of that is revealed here. They just say that Yama taught him that, how to go to heaven. So that is a complex ritual. Some of it may be there in the Vedas. I mean, he teaches Nachiketa how to construct the altar in which this fire is to be lit. So there's some guesswork on how the altar is constructed. Anyway, but the teaching is not there. But the important teaching is there later on, that is Vedanta, which is why we are here all together. So that's the third boon. Here it just says that Yama taught him, that's all.
It seems like it would be backwards. Why would the God of Death be trying to get you to heaven? Wouldn't he want you to come down with him? Or her? I feel like the God of Death is definitely a female. Because y'all are crazy. Trouble. Big trouble.
Lokadimagnim tamuvacha tasmai ya ishtaka yavatirva yathava sachapi tat pratyabadadyatoktam athasya mrityu punareva hatushta. Again, very nice poetry. Upanishad itself is telling how did the teaching proceed. Death told him of that fire, which is the source of the world. World means the heaven, highest heaven. the class and number of bricks.
The earliest secret was putting something on your wall that you want, so you look at it every day, which kind of manifests it. I think it's weak manifestation technique, very weak. It's much better to just be it until you see it.
By which you construct the altar, as also the manner of arranging for the fire. So all the arrangements, what kind of altar is to be constructed and what kind of preparations are to be made for the ritual. And Nachiketa too repeated verbatim with understanding all these as they were spoken. It shows you the teaching methodology, the pedagogy. So there are no, you can't download. You have to listen carefully and repeat back whatever was taught. Then Death, being satisfied with this, said again. So next Death will take up. Just one little bit about a couple of points. One is the arrangement of the altar. I can show you the altar actually. This was the altar used in major Vedic ritualism. So it looks something like this, like a bird constructed of bricks. This is from one side, this is from the other side. I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it looks like a bird? It's made of bricks. It's pretty complex. So Nachiketa must be super attentive to have learned all of that, and you repeat it back to the teacher. Now this kind of teaching actually goes on even now, not about altars, but about Vedanta. In traditional Vedanta teaching, even now, they expect you to memorize the texts. So some of it is relaxed, that some of the mantras are to be memorized. So when we learned, I remember when we learned, they went easy on us. You don't have to memorize the entire Upanishad, though some of the brothers did that, some of the monks did that, but you memorize just the key verses, key mantras from the Upanishad. Often the teaching, even now of course everybody has a book, but the teacher comes, the master teaches, the students gather around, sit in meditation mats and listen to the teacher. And you are expected to at least be able to say what was taught. What did the teacher say? So you have to be attentive to that. May not be literally. Strict masters would require you to literally memorize the entire text and be able to repeat back. Sometimes whatever is done in this class is to be repeated in the next class, only then the class will start. So that kind of intensity is there. I know one or two masters who still do that. I can see why. It makes, at least this much is there that it's entered into your head. I read this, and it's a true story, because Swami Chinmayananda, who's the founder of the Chinmay mission, he has himself corroborated it. So when he went to the Himalayas to study Vedanta, actually he did not originally go to study Vedanta. He was an investigative journalist. He thought that these monks in the Himalayas are all frauds, and he wanted to do a piece on them, exposing them all. But he went there and he became a monk himself. So at first he was inspired and taught by Swami Shivananda Saraswati from the Divine Life Society. So he says that when he became more and more aware of the depth and the profundity of Vedanta, and that the very existence of this huge body of classical knowledge that you need. So he said, I wanted to go to the source.
Intelligence is only 50% awareness and 50% memory. And so if you're being aware and you've got your full attention on whatever you're trying to take in, that awareness will get you to be intelligent. As long as you can store it in your memory bank, you can be intelligent. 50% awareness, 50% memory. Shut up, Wes.
Best teachers that there are, traditional teachers. So Swami Shivananda arranged for him to study under Tapovan Maharaj, who was a very traditional, very well-known teacher of Vedanta at that time, as a monk, very austere, harsh, strict. So all this I've heard. I've read about it later, so it's true. But I've heard also directly from Tapovan Swamiji's attendant, who was alive when I met him. He told me these stories. So finally, so the young Chinmayanandaji, he comes to Uttarkashi first and then Gangotri, about 10,000 feet high in the Himalayas, and sits with this small group of students under this one of the greatest living teachers at that time. So this was the traditional teaching environment for Vedanta. First of all, compulsorily you have to be a monk. I mean, you need not be an ordained monk, but you have to be a brahmachari. That means who is going to be a monk. You have renounced the world. Then only you are allowed to learn Vedanta. Then
Help repeating it back helps you remember it too. Speaking it. That's a good trick when you're trying to remember somebody's name. When you first meet them, you got to say their name twice, and then you'll remember it. So, example. Hey, what's your name? My name is Michael. Hey, Michael, it's nice to meet you, Michael. Say it just like that, and you will remember his name. Also, another cool little memory trick that I learned from Sadhguru is if you're trying to remember something, try to forget it, and you'll remember it. Just try to forget it, and you won't. You can't subtract anything from your brain, only addition and multiplication. No subtraction or division.
You find your own accommodations. He's not going to accommodate you in the school. There is no dorms or anything like that. You find your own hut or cave to stay. You will have to beg for food, or sometimes they all beg together and eat the food later on. And there'll be just 2 classes. It's terribly cold and pretty austere. They're harsh living. And there'll be 2 classes. All you get is 2 classes, one in the morning and one in the afternoon. As long as the sun is warm, you sit and you listen to Tapovan Swami, and that's it. I heard one incident where you're not allowed to have interactions and discussions, with the professor. A young monk once asked a question after the class, and the master, Tapovan Swami, just said, in Hindi, Jaiye brahmachari ji, manan kijiye. He said, you have done the Shravan, oh novice, go back to your hut or cave and reflect upon this. That's all, no answers. I'm not here to give you answers. So nowadays they would get a very low rating on Rate My Professor. Nowadays there's a website, you can rate your professors. And he had a strict rule. Every class, you would have to repeat back whatever was taught in the class earlier. Otherwise, that's it. You're done. You leave immediately. You can't come back again. Not in this lifetime. So you're done. So Swami Chinmayanandaji, once he missed. He was unable to recite to some verse. And Tapovan Swami would roar. He knew that he was a journalist before becoming a monk. And his typical scolding would be, this is Vedanta, this is not your journalism. So he was about to throw him out when the other monks who were there in the class, they begged on his behalf, and so he relented. So it was that strict. And Chinmayanji has himself written about these things. One more incident, which is Vedanta, of course. We're jumping far ahead of what we're discussing here. But again, because the discussion is about Tapovanji and Chinmayanji. So Chinmayanji's one essay has written about Tapovanji, how one day so he could never really understand that since we are that absolute reality, what more is necessary? I am Brahman, existence, consciousness, bliss. And the rest of the world, whatever all this is an appearance in Brahman, it's inconsequential. Why does this add on about Ishvara, Maya, Jiva, Jagat? Why are all these things taught in Vedanta? And what's the point? I understand in conventional religion, fine, you may have God, worship, devotion, fine, all that. But why?
I hate cold weather. How do y'all feel about it? Where I live in the United States, in Texas, we don't get cold very much. Even right now, it's in like the 50s or 40s, and it's freezing to me. Even though we're not even close to freezing, I am freezing. It gets up to in the hundreds in the summer though, which sucks too, but I would much rather have heat than cold. You can't really escape cold. It follows you everywhere you go. And you can always cool off by getting in the shade. Which one do you guys dislike the more? Heat or cold? Let me know in the comments. I need the engagement.
Here, why not only I am Brahman, realize it, finished. That's it. So one day, he writes, in the afternoon class, suddenly the master, Tapovan Swami, said to him, I need a drink of water. Get me some water. So Chinmayanji thought it was strange. Normally, he never asked for water in the middle of a class. So he went with his water pot and I think a brass glass of water, a tumbler. He went to the river, which is you have to go some way down, descend into that. It's a fast flowing, the Ganga there in Gangotri. And he filled it up and he brought it back. And he offered the glass full of Ganga water to the master and immediately received a harsh scolding. Said, what is this? The glass of water. What did I ask for? He said, you asked for water. And what did you bring?
Damn, that one, like, come back in the next life, bro. Try again when you are a little bit more serious about transcending. Because you apparently aren't right now. You can't even remember what we learned yesterday. Come on, bro. Do your homework. Let's transcend out this PI.
A glass of water. Why the glass? I asked you for water. And Chinmayanji says, I was stunned. That's because of his highly advanced of his spiritual nature. He immediately got what was being said. The nature of Nirguna Brahman and Saguna Brahman, it became clear to him. What actually Nirguna Brahman. So he was about to throw him out when the other...
I think it's beautiful how he was a journalist going up there to kind of like just write a story, and he kind of like debunking it, writing a story, and he ended up converting and into the Vedanta lifestyle, and I think that's beautifully poetic. Shut up, Wes.
And how it manifests as Saguna Brahman. What is the vyavahar or utility of name and form and function, even for Vedanta? So anytime you want to deal with something, even if it's to learn Vedanta and become enlightened, you need name, form, and function. You need the world of Maya. And therefore, you need that absolute reality to be the God of Maya also, of this God of religion. Anyway, all these instructions, all these corollaries I am drawing, but his original description in his essay is also very nice. Rick says, regarding fulfillment of desires, is there Sanskrit phrase that translates as first deserve, then desire? Actually, there's one thing I did not mention. When Nachiketa says this, I who am full of faith, I ask for this teaching. There is something, this is all from the Purva Mimamsa philosophy. It says, Arthitvam. Arthitvam means, I am fit to have this purpose. So purpose means this is what I want in life, but I'm fit for it. So I'm qualified for it. I have faith in the Vedic system. I am ready. I have got this. I'm well trained. I have this kind of knowledge, and I desire heaven. This kind of all qualifications are there. You can transmit that knowledge to me. Otherwise, it won't work. Just because the Lord of Death said, I'll give you 3 boons and you can ask for 1 boon, you can say, this knowledge, give that knowledge to me. He may give it to you, but it will be of no use to you unless you deserve it. So first deserve and then desire. Correct. We may get many things we thought we wanted. They may come to us. You notice you are not able to enjoy it properly. To even enjoy the things which you desire, you need some certain qualifications, certain capacity, certain time, certain state of mind, certain frame of mind to enjoy things. even the tastiest food, the most wonderful music, the highest literature. You need that qualification, that cultivation of the mind, that much leisure, that frame and that mood of mind in order to even savor these things. Swami Vivekananda put it in another way. A fool might collect an entire library, but he will read only the ones he deserves to read, and only those books he deserves to read. And I look around all the books around me and I say the veritable truth of Swami Vivekananda's words. The fool may collect an entire library, but will read only the books he deserves to read. Correct. Prabir Basu, can there be only joy without sorrow? Only temporarily. So even in anyway, all these instructions, all these corollaries I am drawing, but his original description in his essay is also that.
I'm still curious on his referring to Maya. I wonder if it has anything to do with the Mayan culture. I wonder if there's a link there. I'm very curious on that. I'm going to do a video on his Maya. I have it on my list, and hopefully it links up with the Mayan cultures, because their shaman spiritual leaders of the Toltecs are very interesting, and I suggest you check out Don Miguel Ruiz Jr. and the Toltec traditions, the Four Agreements, Mastery of Love, Mastery of Self. Beautiful. Highly recommend them.
In our own lives, there are periods of great happiness and fulfillment, only temporarily. For us, it lasts for a short while, and again, it's a dissatisfactory state. For those in heaven, it can last for a long time. And even there will be some little problems, like jealousy and so on and so forth. And demons. Shanli says, does God forgive our bad past karma by present good deeds and karma? No. What may happen is present good deeds and karma, if they are powerful, if you keep on doing good deeds and good karma, they will start giving results. So the bad karma is suppressed or pushed to the back. Also, by the grace of God, the results of bad karma are minimized. Holy Mother Masharda said this, where one might have been pierced by a spear, or one might have lost a leg or something, a terrible accident, you'll get a pinprick. So that's a vast difference. You'll still suffer, but much, much less than what you will suffer. So what makes the difference? Devotion to God and the grace of God. It can minimize.
Yeah, you have to desire it, I guess. So like you can deliver the message, but it may not get delivered. Only not because of your inability, but for the receiver's inability to grasp it because of their lack of passion, is what I'm thinking here.
Our suffering. It can save us from a lot of pain and misery. But then you have to have devotion to God and worship God. Jayashri says, are homams like the Rudram Chandi Homa part of Karma Kanda? Yes. They're part of Karma Kanda. But remember, the way we do that in Vedanta is we convert it into karma yoga. So the same rituals, without the worldly goals or otherworldly goals, you repeat the chanting, you may perform particular rituals also, including the fire sacrifices, but without desiring worldly things or otherworldly things. You will do it only as a worship of God. So then you will get purification of mind, the qualifications for Vedanta, and ultimately enlightenment. All those things will come. See, we all do pujas. So one may do Durga Puja, the big pujas for worldly benefits. Or one may simply do it, let all beings be happy, grant me devotion, grant me knowledge, grant me dispassion for the world, O Mother. That means make me fit for spirituality. Then it becomes, that same ritual becomes karma yoga. It's not just karma, it becomes karma yoga. It becomes part of your spiritual practice. Shravani says, are the gods, Indra, etc. more like positions? Absolutely, they're like positions. So in the position, not that Indra continues to live forever, the position continues forever, but the people who occupy that, like the President of the United States, it's a position and of enormous power. And the sentient beings who come and occupy that, they keep changing. But these positions are not for 4 years or 5 years. They are for millions of years. So, and in the case of the highest God, they are for the entire duration of the universe, one cycle of creation, existence, and destruction. But they are positions. And so in one universe, the one who is Indra, the king of the gods, the one who is a god of fire or whatever, in the next universe, there might be a different Indra, there will be a different Indra, and so on. Gloria says the Swarga Loka sounds a lot like near-death experiencer, near-death experiencers experience. Yes, yes. Which leads us to believe that there is definitely something in all of this, because in many religions these things are described, and in, I would say, incredibly similar ways. And also people who maybe today don't believe in any particular religion, but have similar experiences at the verge of death, or like a near-death experience. So there is something to it. So Vedanta, no, we are not interested in these things. The whole point is you turn away from these things. The more you're interested in object and objective existence, whether this worldly or next worldly, you're caught in samsara. It is just an extension of samsara, a better part of samsara, more rarefied part of samsara, but even there are problems, and there's an end to it. We are in Manhattan, you see the skyline from Central Park, there's something called the Billionaires Row. So there is very tall, there's the skinniest building in the world, tallest, skinniest building in the world, it's more than 100 floors and all. So only billionaires live there. And somebody was telling me that, what do they have? In the 80th floor, 100th floor, the building is swaying a little bit. So it's a little scary. And some other little problems are there. The garbage chute makes a sound or something like that. So somebody said, these are the woes, the sufferings of billionaires. So there's still some problem going on, even at that high level, rarefied level. Sudhir says, so isn't that heaven is same as rich persons like earth? Correct. At least the lower heavens. And some of them, like the Brahma Loka, is not just being a rich person, but also being a spiritual rich person. So that's a nice thing. Vedanta is higher than that. You don't have to be a spiritual rich person and go and live in the highest heaven for millions of years. You get the highest, which is complete fulfillment, complete cessation of suffering. You get infinity itself here and now by Brahma Jnana, by becoming enlightened. Far higher than all of this. The problem of being rich and spiritual is, I'll tell you. I met this person who is one of India's leading motivational speakers, young man, very good personality. I mean, you just like him when you meet him, and he inspires lots of young college students, boys and girls. He's a very, very dynamic speaker. He's also a multi-millionaire, owns a big company. The way I met him was he wanted to speak to me. So
there is, and they've been doing studies on how prayer works as well. This is pretty interesting. They put a spiritual leader in an MRI machine, and I mean they've tested this multiple times, and then they put a patient in another MRI machine down the hall, and some of the times across the street in another building. And when the spiritual leader started to pray for the patient, a certain part of the spiritual leader's brain lit up, and almost instantaneously the patient's brain in the same area lit up. So we're starting to get materialistic proof that prayer works. It does work, guys.
So I just heard about him. He flew me out from Calcutta to Delhi and brought me to his office. He spent 6 hours. I said, what about your job? He said, oh, that's in Hindi. He said, oh, to aisa hi hai, Swamiji, time pass karne ke liye. I said, what about in his corporate headquarters, 6 hours, he was not attending to any business. He said, oh, Swami, that's just like that. It's just to pass time. You have to do something and do that. But my real interest is in spiritual life. And I could see that he's genuinely vastly well-read, in Vedanta, Buddhism.
I've been in this country for 45 years almost, and I've never been to New York, never experienced Central Park. I have never, and honestly, I don't have a desire to, especially now that I'm disabled. Traveling is very, very difficult to say that. I am retired from fun, so no travel. All work, no play. I've played a lot the first part of my life, and it gave me a stroke, and my bad karma meter exploded, and so did my brain. Shut up, Wes.
And a regular meditator, seriously interested, and some genuine spiritual insight is there. I could see that. But the interesting thing is, what happened was, he has a group of followers. One of them said to me afterwards, they're all starry-eyed about him. One of them said to me that our goal is to be like him. And I know I want to become a millionaire and become enlightened. You don't have to become a millionaire to become enlightened. It is just so attractive that I get both. I get to be a millionaire and a billionaire, and I also become enlightened spiritual master. No, it sort of confuses the issue. I'm sure he is fine, but those who it's so shiny and nice that people want all of that together. Whereas Vedanta says not at all necessary. And not, in fact, it can be an enormous distraction to be involved in the world in that way and also try to pursue spirituality.
Honestly, more money, more problems. Shout out BIG. And I can't really give you too much of a shout out now because of your ties to P. Diddy and what has become of him. Who knows what you actually did when you were alive. But I am a big fan. But it's hard for me to listen to your music now. So I don't know what my point was on that, but I'm gonna shut up now.
Shweta Singh says, Shweta Singh Kirti says, if the pleasures of heaven are not ultimately fulfilling, then why would somebody like to spend a long time there? Because of desire. On earth, people, after having everything they want, they start feeling depressed. Yes, the speciality of this world, they call it Matya Loka. The speciality of this world is, it's that unique balance of suffering and pleasure, pain and pleasure, which evokes in us this question about the point of it all. The reason why this question does not come to very rich people, Hollywood, nearby there are these areas. All the big stars don't live in Hollywood now. They all live in Beverly Hills, one or two places. I forgot the names. They're very well known. Bel Air is one place, I think. So they all live there. Now, so are you being very spiritual by living there? You have seen all the desires being fulfilled? No, not at all. They are so rich and so famous and so full of life, is full of parties. There's no time for serious spiritual pursuit. You may become curious once in a while, but things are so good you quickly forget that again. That discipline and that renunciation necessary to pursue that seriously. Not that some are not deeply spiritual, some are. But again, it's difficult. So it's very difficult for very rich something. I do that. But my real interest is in spiritual life. And
if you have that much money, you're probably a master delegator. So he's probably not worried about the 6 hours. His company is probably running like a well-oiled machine without him even looking.
Rich people, and it's very difficult for people who are suffering a lot. So in heaven and in hell, it's difficult to be spiritual. If things are going perfectly well for you, it's difficult to have that motivation to search for the higher truth. If things are going horribly for you, you don't have the time, energy, the calmness of mind to sit down and investigate this. So this world where we are is a good balance it's a good place for Vedanta. Shri says, Can one decide to pursue enlightenment while residing in the loka? Yes. Or they have to descend at least one more time to earth. Can we assume that this would be their last birth? Yes, to all of them. They are those, this is called krama mukti, sequential liberation. You have practiced spirituality in this world and you have not attained enlightenment because of great good karma. You're a good person, so you go to heaven after death. Now there you continue your spiritual quest. These ideas are there. And then you will, there itself you will attain enlightenment. You don't have to come back.
It kind of seems like it would be near impossible. If you're rich, there's way too many worldly pleasures to engage in. And if you're trying to be at the higher spiritual level, with celibacy and all that good stuff, and I bring that up because if you got money, you probably got chicks.
To this world. But if a person has desires, then after enjoying heaven, one comes back to this world and again practices spiritual practices. And Krishna says that in the 6th chapter of the Gita, that such people will come back again, but it will be their last birth and they will get enlightenment in that birth itself. So all of this is possible, all these are alternatives. So there's a link shared by Pranav and a documentary to Swami Chinmayanji. Yes. I've seen that documentary, it's very nice. Vishwanath says Tapovanji also did not allow in no.
It does, but it kind of seems like it's more negative than positive. Maybe that's just a glass half full viewpoint, but I've been through a lot of negative shit, as I'm sure you have as well, preaching to the choir. It doesn't discriminate, and it doesn't, nobody doesn't get the ugly end of the stick on this planet. Don't complain, you're preaching to the choir.
For taking in the class. I think that must be true. Yeah. Alpana says, after enlightenment, can one want to keep coming to enjoy these manifestations? Now, that kind of wanting will not be there, but one may keep coming if, in a sense, Sri Ramakrishna says, by the will of God. That coming will not be there for enjoyment of manifestation. The coming will be there for...
I've never been to California either, guys. My priorities have always been elsewhere than traveling. I was spending my money on other things like drugs and alcohol and partying and women.
Now, or helping others. So Sri Ramakrishna says there are some Nitya Siddhas, ever perfected ones. They are not coming back here to practice spirituality and get enlightenment. They are already enlightened, they are already free, and yet for some reason they have maintained their individualities. They are not one with Brahman in the sense that there is no more individual left. They can come back as enlightened beings to help others. Often when avatars come, Sri Ramakrishna says, when avatars come, a group of companions come with that avatar. Come means they are also born and they come close to the avatar and they become the disciples, like the apostles of Christ or the direct disciples of Sri Ramakrishna, who helped the avatar. Some of those, not all. Sri Ramakrishna identified 6, I think, who were already, he said, Nitya Siddha. They are already liberated even before they came. So they have come because of the will of God to help God. Help the avatar in the mission. Shweta Singh Kirti, do they have Vedanta in heaven? Yes. Then it can be worthwhile staying there. Yes, but not all heavens. Some heavens are just made for enjoyment. But there are, the Brahmaloka, for example, is full of enlightened beings or spiritual beings. So I'm sure they have Vedanta classes there. You can, I don't know if you can transfer credits from this class to there. Nitin says, since heavens and hells are mostly indicating different states of mind, does it mean that jealousy is a tougher problem to get rid of than kama, krodha, lobha, moha? I have not really thought of it about it that way. Jealousy is a deep problem. Even like spiritual seekers can become jealous. So it is a deep problem. But I don't know if that's why the gods are jealous of each other. There's a good way to understand that is actually to look at very famous, very rich people, celebrities, the way they behave in this world. Is a good indicator of what these celestial beings would do. Don't worry too much about them. They are outside our...
I kind of feel like that's why I didn't die when I should have, is because I had too many worldly pleasures. Too many, what word am I looking for? Too many worldly pleasures that I was addicted to, I guess you could say. But I feel like that's why I didn't die. Too many desires.
And they will get in our purview. We are going ahead. We're going to say goodbye to them very soon. Nachiketa has very harsh words about them. It's going to come. He will say very clearly, the little boy to Yama, I don't want any part of this. And he says he will say it's like a horror show, all of it, from heaven to earth down to hell. The whole thing is something that you must transcend as soon as possible. Nitin Pawwal, does everyone in Satyaloka necessarily get Krama Mukti at the end of the cycle? No. It is very clear. Those who still have desires at the end of the cycle, even in the highest heaven, then they will wait for an interminable time until the next creation.
Pretty sure that's the meaning of life, to be in service to others, to sacrifice yourself for the benefit of others.
Next time when time starts, space starts, universe starts, and then they'll be reborn again to work out their spiritual destiny. Some of them will not be reborn, those who become enlightened there in heaven itself. Rodrigo says, so many questions about heaven. Just see how attractive it is. It's full of questions about heaven. Rodrigo, I'll just take this and stop. Aren't those karma to become Manasa Puja? Then those rituals were all performed in the mind? Yes. The idea is, in the Vedas, you have actual physical rituals which are to be performed, like this, what Yamaraja taught Nachiketa. But at a certain stage, you would evolve beyond the necessity to perform rituals physically, and you could visualize them in your mind. Manasa Puja. We even do that now with our modern pujas. We can physically do the...
I feel like that's probably going to be my next stop, is I'm going to learn enough to come back around to help other people while I'm still building spiritually to transcend out this biatch.
Puja outside with flowers and incense and the utensils for the puja, instruments, or you can visualize all of it and do it. In fact, not or, both are to be done. Those who do physically are also instructed to do it mentally. Those who do it mentally, you can do it only mentally without doing physically also. Krishna, Shiva, Brahma, Shweta asks, are they also positions? Krishna is an avatar, not a position. So that is unique. Shiva is God with a capital G, not a position. That is unique, eternal. They're not that different sentient beings can become Shiva, not at all. But Brahma is a position. In each cycle of creation, a new Brahma. Brahma means the creator of the universe. So that's not God with the capital G. That is, is manifested in each cycle. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu. Om Shanti 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 Hari Om Tat Sat Shri Ram Krishna Arpanamastu.
Thank you, Swami Ji. And thank you if you made it this far. I can't express my gratitude enough for the support, especially for the content that I make. You know, it's not the most exciting content, you know, like comedy or music. So thank you very much from the bottom of my heart. If you are feeling generous, please consider subscribing to my Patreon. You get early access to my videos. I do live Q&As over there, and I also have other benefits. Please check it out. Links in the description. So with my Cash App, if you're feeling generous that way as well, or you can just go ahead and like the video and subscribe with all notifications so you stay in the loop and never miss a drop. Or you can buy some merch. I have some awesome t-shirts that you'll probably love, and we will ship to India. So if you guys want a t-shirt, a Knowledge Nomad t-shirt, or love somebody that you don't like, or philosophy is a confession, I'm going to show them here for you. Thank you very much again. I love you guys. Go love somebody that you don't like so you can love yourself properly. Go love the people you don't like. I love you guys. I will see you next time around, which is going to be mantras 16 through 19, and I will probably release it next Friday. Alright. See you guys. Love you.